我说我本来想帮你剪 Vantage，但是你说 Brandy，
我受不了那种。
我刚刚听到你喉咙，觉得这是。
我要渴死了，很不睡。
Did you check if, can you do me a favor and just put today's, because mark and put today's date so we know then.
我觉得春假他们会投入。
你上去玩的。
是不是太远了？我去的之前。在佛罗里达州内，很北。
不是，为什么大人都这么好玩？
因为我男朋友老牛逼了。我来了第一年，我也是干嘛？找个人玩玩。他想去迪士尼，我俩非要让我办一个迪士尼的年卡。
啊，你要办的是你。
Then right after we can put in,
我进去想贵宾待遇了。
有那个8号，所以我们这个直接返场。
迪士尼那环球影城是直接给你的，环球影城不是有 VIP 通道的？
有的。
你是直接可以走 VIP 通道的。
Under?
yeah,
Good day. How are you?
fine.
我爸妈来了。
你们讲的是那个。
我操！我真服了，我来了，我不来了。我爸妈现在没有。到礼拜五。哇！我又不要做饭，我又不要他们做饭给我，我去买外卖就好了。他们。没有，他们。无力指这个本子翻下白眼，翻上完就回去了。
今天他们妈妈去哪里玩？
他们已经来了很久了。天晚上晚过。
你不会去其他州玩？
And then, do underneath, BI, then we'll do assignment chapter, cloud computing teaching.
Assignment chapter.
TG3 cloud computing.
我觉得你们都挺好玩的。
我觉得那个不好玩啊。
这样会挺好玩的。现在和风筝
没有不去，我
你可以4月份去西雅图玩，然后是2月底去深圳玩，这2个地方就现在。
4月的课程，4月6他们就属于周末玩的地方。
周末去的，周末来。
下去去的课。
什么时候？你们是那个房间
Where?
有。
There?
那你扫码
Under right down.
No, inside of BI, put in the dashboard. Put a
他说
dashboard,
他这次第一
data analytics.
他说今天会他有一点写错了。
可以肯定我下期的课，我看你会看我一个月里面4周3周的那个时间。
啊，你把他课并在一起对吧？
1周3有开课。
And if you can be so,
啊，好像到2个大家报5、6、7。
sometimes you could project and you see something. And then we'll do once I get on, you can see also on the cycle too.
那不行啊！你看我们周末没有连起来。
周1、周6。
啊，我上次见过。
你跟我选一样的课。
身上没有其他人。
有啊。众所周知，就这个课表我拿个手机，你跟我选一样的课。
不能因为跟你选一样课的人不想跟我或者他不想。
谁呀？
students already have their, and can you hear something going on? So just see if you can hear what's going on.
你追过人吗？
对啊，就是哎呀，我跟你讲，是休想。
Yeah.
听过一部分。
拿着给你看，我最近讲，其实讲的这个话特别好玩，都是讲的在和我在讲是为什么。
有人在对你，你干嘛？
我知道他这个讲我那太好玩了。
那你把他要被你抓到，他之前他难道被你抓到了？
废话，他跟他讲坏话，他讲坏话这些人告诉我。
Create a role. Sure. And let me tell you what I want. I want, in the role, I want, put the date on the very top, and then for the columns, put yourself as number one, but put for the columns, first name, last name, phone, and then put in group proposal upload. Yes, no. Okay? Okay?
我们本来讲话还是还是很虚的。
我们要找他们去，我们做。
那我们说，
就你把这个内容。好吧。
So folks, get out your name tag, start. If you don't have your name tag, take a sheet up here. We're gonna start a broadcast. Okay, perfect. Folks, welcome back. Get name tags. Let's put it up. Thea has passed around a roll. Did you sign in?
Yes.
It's going around the roll. We're passing a roll, so we can see that. Let me share my screen. We can share the screen. I'll go to Blackboard. I'll log in with my Kane ID, do authentication, make sure that I say I am. You're on only if you want to follow. You can log in if you want to follow me with Blackboard. Might as well. We're gonna go. You always can use it if you don't need it. You know what I mean? That you can see. Okay, I'm gonna go to the. Yeah, it's a good idea. You know why, James? So when I assign you can see whether it's there. You know, giving each other feedback. So you kind of know what the. plan is.
We get the idea.
Yeah, we got the idea every time. So we created an algorithm each time, and now all we have to do is automate it. So all of this should be automated. As soon as I get to class, right, at 6:30, the broadcast should be started already. It should be passed over to the psycho. It should be done already. Alex doesn't have to check. It will be checked if it's online, right? It will be able to, we can even have intelligence trying to answer even questions of people online, trying to do the artificial intelligence. But guess what? The computers are still, in many cases, we have to design the algorithms first and then start designing it for it to learn to get to better. It's just not going to make sense here what to do. Just like you, James, it took a while to figure out what's the routine. Once you understand the routine and can articulate it, then we can articulate it in a set of sequence steps for the computer to do it. And then I don't have to spend time, Alex doesn't have to spend time, you don't have to spend time checking on it, we know that, but we'll need to check, is it working properly, and are we making any additions? So it may be saying, hey, we don't want to start at 6:25, when we're in the lab, we want to start at 6:35, we can override it, or we don't want to record a day, or when we give out exam scores, I don't want that to be recorded, so we can shut off. But usually it can say from 6:25 to, let's say, 8:30 is recording, then there's student questions. Some student questions say, hey, I want it to be recorded. Other students say, I have something private I want to discuss with you. We don't want to do that. So it'd be able that the instructor or whoever would be able to overwrite the system, right? But a lot of this won't be able to be done. So, welcome back. First of all, I want to welcome everybody. I'm glad that you all made it back safe, secure, rested, and isn't it hard to get back? For me it is. But you can see my voice is a little bit shaky today, and we'll see how much I go through, but I think I should be able to do that. So, what is our plan for today? I'm going to discuss business intelligence with you today. Talk about what does that mean. Part of it we already know, but I'm going to make it more clear for you, answer any questions you have on business intelligence. We're going to be going to talk about cloud computing for next week, and we have, then that'll be the Tech Guide 3 for cloud computing. And after we go through those topics, we'll be talking about the group projects. Every week will be what I call agile development. We'll start with the projects, with a project proposal. I'm in everybody's group. So you have me as a resource, and one of the nice things is when I'm having you go through your proposal, I'll be giving you suggestions. So at the last week of class, and when is that? When is our last day of class? Anybody know? It's in April. I can't believe it. Can somebody check for me? What's the last date for our class?
4/27.
Huh?
I believe it's April 27th.
Is it April 27th? Is that a Wednesday? Wednesday, April 24th. So April 24th, you will be presenting. So some people have contacted me that they want to go on a trip and I want to make reservations. That is not a day for you to go on a trip. That is not a day for you to do reservations. That is a day for you to present. From now on, unless I say otherwise, we're going to meet in the lab. Because part of the time, possibly, I want to focus for this next part of our course is to emphasize the projects. We're going to have an exam. The exam time has been set. Anybody remember the exam time?
The final?
The final.
It's on the 1st.
May 1st at what time?
8:30 to 10.
8 to 10. So we'll do it in here again. The final will be here. The final will be similar to the first exam. What I want to do, and I wanted to get input from you, what I want to do, instead of making it a complete cumulative final, I'd rather have it as another exam covering the new material. Rather than everything is anyways, you need to know what software is before you start talking about business intelligence, artificial intelligence, so it's all cumulative. But I really want to spend time for you to focus in on your project, because your project you can take with you. An exam you can't take with you. You say, I got an exam, I got whatever number I have, but in order to take with you as like a portfolio, as something to do that you want to do in the future, the project is key. So I want to focus in it. Also, I want to be in the lab that we may take last parts of classes to work together, and since I'm on everybody's team, we can work together even in using this lab to work on our projects, and I'll give you feedback. So today, after I go through the data analytics, the cloud computing, I will go over the group proposals with you, and I'll have a group member stand and tell the class what's happening to your proposal, and I'll be giving you feedback, and then we'll be going to the next step. You remember I talked about Wix last time? I met with the Wix representatives from California and New York who asked me what I did on spring break. That's what I did on spring break, is I met with them. I haven't heard back, but tentatively, I've invited them next week to fly from New York down here to give us a presentation. I haven't heard back, but hopefully we'll have that, and hopefully we'll be able to be taking part in their Wix by having a domain name for a year free, also being able to use their premium version, and they have something that they call a Wix certificate. And what they'll be doing, if you do, and what I've convinced them is that your project can be the Wix certificate. So it's nice to have on your resume that you already have a Wix certificate. So along the way, hopefully we can get that done where you can have a Wix certificate, and they'll be coming down and helping us, hopefully, next week. So we'll have them as well. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go to, and then after we go through the group proposals, I'll give back the exams, and we'll talk about the multiple choice part and the open-ended. And then if you have further questions with that, I'm leaving that to the end, because a lot of people, they have some issues. There were problems with scoring and so forth. We can use the end of the class for that. Those that are satisfied with their grades and the exams can then take off, okay, or meet with their groups and do for the next week. Any questions before I begin? And any other questions, please, please, please stay with me after class, or send me an email of any of the issues you have, and I'll try to respond as soon as I can. Okay, and we can do it in dynamic mode. So the first thing I want to do is let's go to BTE 210KY. I'll go to that section. And you can use, in this case, you can use the computers here, or you can use your laptops. I don't care. And what do I want to do? I first want to go to course documents. I'm going to go to PowerPoint, and then I'll go to chapter 12. And then you'll see I'll also have TG3, which is the cloud. Okay. I'll also go to assignments. And your last quiz was what? Chapter 4?
12.
Your last quiz was 12, right. Your last quiz was 12, thank you. Your last quiz was 12, and I'm going to make Tech 3, the cloud, available to you. So make sure, I'm going to go to edit the test options, rather than just make it available, to make sure that everything's okay. I see here, open the test, make available to students. And since I want you to focus in on your project, I'm using these quizzes for you. Many times people say, oh, the quizzes, I did all the quizzes, why didn't I get some more credit for it? The quizzes mainly are for you, right? I require you to do the quizzes, but they're mainly for you because what? You can take it 2 times, it's open book, it's open notes, it's open web, any way that you can get it there. So, and it's last grade attempted, and let me just make sure everything is done here, and let me submit, and what's your work for you to do?
It's there.
It's there, okay. We need a check, recheck, and check each other. We know that when we're dealing with technology, we know. So for next week, you can put in your notes that cloud computing is due, okay? So, if I'm doing Google Business Intelligence, vendors, right? Some of these companies come up right here on the screen, right? Where it says SysSense, Looker, Click, SAP. Who knows Tableau? Who's ever used Tableau? Only did you? It should be, right? It's one of the classes, right, of Tableau. So basically, Tableau, if you had to say what Tableau was, and I want all name tags out, if we had a Tableau doing, what would you say it was? Okay.
Kind of like a pivot table in a shell.
Okay, so let's put a couple of terms here. So one term that we can think about, very good, and you remember too when I was talking about it, is class participation counts in this class. When people are between grades, class participation counts. How can you do class participation? One, in answering the questions. What's another way? In helping each other. When you're helping each other, that can be in terms of asking questions and being involved. So one of the things is we're really trying in a collaborative method. So one of the things you're telling me, pivot tables, right? And when I think about pivot tables, one of the terms for pivot tables is OLAP. Anybody know what OLAP stands for? Online, what? Analytical. Analytical. Processing. Okay. And what else can you tell me, Kate, is a Tableau? Is that all? Just pivot tables?
Well, it's like you like upload data and you can like basically set it up to analyze it through like.
For data analytics.
Yeah, you can.
That's another area. Yes.
Data visualization.
Data visualization, so data analytics. Analytics. Data visualization. What's a key component here? Doesn't it sound data, right? Anything, have any of you heard about artificial intelligence? What's it based on? Data, right? In order to do predictions, in order to do forecasts. When you think about who's my marketing majors here, raise your hand. All my marketing majors, what do you now is doing in marketing is all what? Social media, data. Even if I think about, we did the automated trading systems. What are they really looking for? We want another component is the trends. There's something called like stock twits. Basically with Twitter, knowing what's the trend, what's trending now. Even if the whole community thinks something is trending, right? We may want to our strategy may want to be what? Counter to the trend, or we may want to go with the trend, or maybe people over-exaggerate. Anybody hear about Boeing and all the planes, right? How did their stock go? What do you think? Down in numerous portions. Now the question is how long is this going to last? Are they going to find any more information, right? Anybody hear about how they were doing? Remember we talked about compliance and supervision. Who was basically who's supposed to review Boeing? FAA, what's the FAA? Federal agency then for aeronautics, right? Aviation, and who was doing that? Boeing was hiring their own inspectors. Anybody see a conflict of interest in that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? The day before that crash, where the first crash and that Lion crash, right? They had a pilot that was basically, he was in the jump seat. He was saving that plane. So the ideas here, that compliance, that regulation has to be encompassed, so we can do this. So when I look at data visualization then, I look at OLAP, you know a lot of those, and who else did they say? SAP, SAS, Click. Click was just bought out as well. So if I search for Click, Click is another another company that looked what they said. Data analytics for modern business intelligence. And then look how they start. I love to look at these vendor sites because you know they want to project what they think the audience wants. And what's their first line? Lead with data, right? Lead with data. It's all different ways. Is Blaze, and then they say already they're coming from looking for help. Blaze trails daily with only end-to-end data management analytics platform. What's a platform? It's like software that combines a number of systems together, a number of tasks together. Platform, just like the NinjaTrader is a platform. Basically, Click can be a platform to transform your entire business, right? So they can talk about it, and then they talk about something called Gartner Magic Quadrant for analytics and BI platforms. Who's heard about Gartner? Put that in your notes. Gartner is a research company that evaluates vendors in certain tech areas. So they have something called Gartner Magic Quadrant. And companies, vendors try as much as possible to be high on this research company. So if I went and I searched Gartner, and notice here that I would search here, Gartner. Let's see if something comes up. It says Magic Quadrant for Analytics and Business Intelligence Programs, Modern Analytics and BI Platforms. What's BI? Business Intelligence are now mainstream purchases for which key differentiators are augmented analytics and support. Reporting in a single platform. What is reporting in a single platform? That I don't have to go to Excel, I don't have to go to Tableau, I don't have to go to Yahoo, I have one platform that I can bring together all my data and report it. So they say here, analytics help data and analytics leaders complement their existing solutions on more to an entirely new vendor. And you can see here, they have all the companies, and they start reviewing all the companies. And basically, if you want to find who are the top vendors of a certain category of software, Gartner is a good company to go to, a research company. You can see here vendors that we talked about. You see there IBM, you see Microsoft, Oracle, Pyramid Analytics, SAP, SAS. You see here Tableau. So Tableau is one of the companies that are part of that business intelligence. So let me just review here, make sure that everybody understands the terms that we talked about. So when I talk about business intelligence, the whole area here is for managers to make better decisions. We make decisions every day, and in business, what are we going to say? Am I going to buy that stock? Am I going to sell that stock? Am I going to buy that real estate or am not? Am I going to rent? Am I going to buy? You make it every day, right? Of being able, how many people live in the dorms, right? If you live in the dorms, and then later on, the next year, where are you going to live? Where am I going to live in the summer? What is it going to be? What is the cost? And basically what we want is data analysis to help us. And another part that you can really figure out is when it says business intelligence applications, there's the idea for applications for presenting results. When you use, what's nice about Tableau is it presents the results nicely for you. Excel presents it in graphical format. You did it in NinjaTrader where you had it. Remember you had the performance report. And the results, how you present it is based on who will read the results. Is it for the CFO? Is it for the chief marketing officer? Is it for the board of directors? I'm going to have my presentation different on that. So the key here is they give you phases and processes for a decision making, and in the role here, you have to figure out how am I going to be in that role, how am I going to need IT support, and what the key here is a lot of times people want to do what they call self-service. Basically, I don't want to wait for IT to give me the reports, I want to do them myself. So we have business intelligence here, and we have something called structured, semi-structured, and unstructured decisions. What's a structured decision? Where did we see structured before? Structured, semi-structured, and unstructured decisions. Where did I see it before? Jake, where did I see it? Beautiful. Manal, what is it again? Data, 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 right? So it's basically done, and we talk about what's a structured data. A structured data would be what? If I think about, let's go back to our platform of our automated trading system. What did we download from, was it, question, this is a good question for next exam. Data from Yahoo Finance for a company for the past 45 days. Is that structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data? Everybody understand the question? Maddie, what was the question? Structured data from Yahoo Finance, and you downloaded, let's say, Apple, for the past 60 days. Is that structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured? You can get help now. You want to ask your teammate there next to you, what do you think? A, structured, B, semi-structured, C, unstructured, D, all of the above, E, none of the above. What do you get? Unstructured. Okay, who else? Why did you say unstructured?
I got some help from my teammates.
Okay, well, but why did you say, let's think about it. If you go to Yahoo Finance, right? Do you remember going to Yahoo Finance? Go to Yahoo Finance. If we went to Yahoo Finance, right? You remember that? And when I searched, right, let's say I wanted what? Why open a fund, right? I went to Yahoo Finance, and I could then go to Finance Home, and I could go to what? Let's say Microsoft. I get my Microsoft, here they gave me Morgan Stanley, doesn't matter. Morgan Stanley, I have historical data, remember I had historical data, right? And in historical data I have daily. Let's just look at this. Beautiful. We're on a roll, Maddie. It's like we rehearsed it, right? You wanted to give the wrong answer just to point out to the class. Good idea, right? To make sure that everybody's thinking. Now let's look. What are the, Maddie, we're reviewing. Because everything, even though it's not cumulative, everything that we're going to learn now when we get to structured decision is going to be the same. And I'm going to send it out to Maddie, and then she can pass it on to someone else. What are the fields right here on the screen? What are the names of the fields? Date, open, high, low, close, adjusted close, volume. Those are what? Called fields. They also can be called what? attributes. So do you think every time I'm going to download, will I get the same format? Yes or no? Yes, right? Perfect. One of the things that we're learning here is to correct ourselves. I don't know all the answers, you don't know all the answers. The answers are going to be changing all the time, evolving. What we want to do is try to figure out, by looking at examples, how we can improve. Everybody with me? So here we know, Maddie just corrected herself, right? She knows the structure because every time we download this, we will get structure. So the idea here is every time I would say, okay, now, what is, if I have a moving average, right, and I want to be above a moving average of, let's say, we did it before, of 10, and when it crossed over, remember we had the fast and the slow, we want to do that. Every time we want to do that same algorithm, is that going to be structured, Rachel, or unstructured? Every time we want to do the same algorithm on this structured data for my decision. It's structured. And I can have that structured decision as well. What was the second one? That if I looked at it before, right? This says semi-structured. Semi-structured then would be that we're having things that we didn't plan in advance. All of a sudden, Maddie, I'm coming back to you because you're on a roll. When I have Maddie, we may be having, all of a sudden we woke up and we were always doing Boeing. Boeing was our best, and last year Boeing was one of the best stocks to always, with our moving average, to always buy. We heard about the crash. Do you think we want our algorithm to run the same all the time? There's some new external information there, so we need to react differently. Maddie, all of a sudden, this could be in August, the end of August, we're in Florida, and we're investing in a Florida company, and we see a major hurricane coming. That's unstructured. Did we anticipate it? No. Is it going to happen at the same time? So that's going to be semi-structured for that decision. Unstructured is that we're going to basically do queries, things we're not going to have structure as set. And one of the things, what type of data is the most unstructured a lot of times is video. Anybody ever use video? Of course. Is video encompassing basically as data? Is it easy to find videos exactly what we want? No. So that's unstructured. And that whole area, is it large? Yes. So that whole area of video is going to be, we may want to do, like for police work, right? Find me certain subjects, find me in terms of security. It may be now on ads for emotions. Now they have, my marketing people, now they have billboards and they have ads where they can basically see emotions, they can see age groups, somebody passes by. I know that's a male, right, between, let's say, 18 and 25. I can see that they're happy, they're sad, they're excited, whatever. So that is in terms of what we have. So these are what you need to know in terms of decision analysis. These are the framework, basically talking about structured and unstructured. The nature, whether we're thinking about strategic planning, what are we going to do in the future? How do I control certain operations? How do I control my management in terms of fraud? Remember we talked about Reg Tech, regulation for compliance. Basically, what is my management doing to prevent fraud? And then what is business intelligence, that you can see that we're talking about the development here of the infrastructure and the support. Notice here, OLAP. Have you done OLAP? OLAP is basically what? Pivot tables on steroids. And basically, I want to drill down, drill up. And data mining. What is data mining? Data mining is I can do it as a hypothesis, data mining is I can find then patterns to my data that can give me insight to my data. I can hypothesize, for instance, I want to be able to reach my customers that are 18 to 22 that are in college, or I may want to focus in and see what I can sell to my customers that are now graduated but are single, or that are recently married, or that are retiring. This is in terms of data mining. I can either give it the data and say, find me patterns that I didn't know before, or I want to verify my patterns. Remember we talked about the data warehouse last time? This is now part of business intelligence that data mining incorporated to it. So you can think about it, data mining is used everywhere, from police work to healthcare, to be able to predict, to be able to do personalized medicine, to be able to see who are my best candidates for certain DNA problems, mutations. I can do healthcare in terms of precision ways. I can do marketing, right, for ads. You can see, right, Google, Facebook, they're all doing marketing using this data mining. How do they know then what ads? Anybody ever get ads on Facebook? You see any pattern of type of ad? You get different ads than I do.
Like whatever you're searching, then those things come apart.
And Google, have you ever gotten those pop-up ads right after you search for a trip, after you search for a holiday, you're getting those. They're basically following you and being able to do that. They do it in the political realm, of course. All the time you can see that. So all of this is done with data mining. Amazon always says recommendation list. How do they get that recommendation list? From data mining. They love that data, and then they sell your data. We found that out, right? And what if analysis, what if I want to make, then what if I raise my sales, what will happen? What if I decrease my price? I want to make, for instance, goal seeking. I want to be a day trader, and I want to make $1,000 a day. That's my goal. What do I have to then invest in to get $100 a day? And I don't want to lose more than $50 a day, or a certain percentage in sensitivity analysis. Dashboards are key. What's a dashboard? Basically, a dashboard looks like this. A dashboard is like a dashboard in your car, but giving you an overall picture of what the company is doing, what the enterprise is doing, what I'm doing in trading. I can get an overall view. I can see how it's compared. And the key, put this in your notes, the key for that sample performance dashboard is going to be then specialized for the certain individual, let's say in the company. The CFO will get the chief financial officer will get a different performance dashboard than the chief marketing officer, then the head of the sales company, then the chief in terms of the CEO and the board of directors. And then I can drill down and see these dashboards. This is essential, and then Tableau does a nice job of those presentations. And you can see here, Bloomberg Terminals, even Management Cockpit. Here's the capability dashboard. I can drill down. What does it mean? I can get into more detail if I want to. Key performance indicators will mean I want to look at, for instance, certain performance ratios. Trend analysis. Remember we did trend analysis before, is do I predict that that stock is going to go up in the next 5 days? Is it going to go down? What's exception reporting? I just got your test scores. What would exception reporting be? This is a question, it'd be a good question for the exam, right? What would be exception reporting for a professor getting the first exam? What would be an exception reporting? Evelina, what would be then the answer to that? You know the question? Have somebody repeat the question. Blaise, what's the question?
Would be the exception of reporting.
What would be the exception reporting for an instructor that just received exam grades? That's the question. So what's an exception? That's what we got to figure out.
That's something that's not strictly
Okay, so I have an average. Would the average student in the class be an exception reported? No. Would the person that got 100 in the class, and let's say the average was, let's say, 75, right? So I would get all those that got 100, and the person that got, and let's say the average was 80 and one person got 40. Would that 40 be part of the exception reporting? Yes. Get the outliers. Just like the stocks, many times, all of a sudden, I may not want to deal with, all of a sudden, you remember when I said those outliers, a lot of times it's reversion to the mean. Maybe people get overly excited and say, oh, we're dumping Boeing. Do you think Boeing's going to exist in 5 years from now, 2 years from now? Probably will, don't you think so? It's not going to go away. They got a glitch and they have to retool, or they have to get their software up and running. So exception reporting then it will be even part of my dashboard that said, these students, my students that got 100, what should I do with them? Maybe what I should do is not only give them commendations, right? But maybe I should say, hey, you're doing something right. Can you help other students that are not doing right? Or maybe make them find out what is the best practices. How did they study for the exam?
So give those people not standard treatment.
It could be, or I can not only not standard treatment, but it can alert me that no one got 100. I don't have any exception reporting. Everybody was in the middle. Or I can find those students that were so exceptional that I say, you know what? Maybe you know all the material, and maybe what you can do is extra projects. You want to do some type of extra work because you know the material.
If there are a lot of exceptions, does that mean the system is flawed?
It doesn't mean it's what is the system. It could be exception. It just might. What system is flawed? If I have a lot of exceptions, right? It could be exceptions to the group. So if the average was 98 in the class, maybe that 100 isn't such an exception, right? And maybe if it was 98, maybe an 80 in the class, and there was only one student that got 80, that's an exception. So the exceptions are, I want to find out and think about it, let's say that's in the class, but think about it if you were having a company, Evelina, and you wanted to find your best salespeople. I wanted to get my top one. This sells like crazy, this person. I know sometimes the exception will also tell me what. It may be, what are they doing? They may be falsifying their commissions, their sales. They may be selling and they're not even selling. I'm writing out Blaze. Let's say I'm the salesperson. I go to Blaze and I said, I have this product and this is what's happened. Let me send it to you as a demo. You just look at it, and then I write down that I sold Blaze my software product. Blaze said, hey, wait a minute, I never bought it, but I put them down as a sale. And I'm putting down everybody's sales, so I'm an exception, but maybe I should look at it. Oh, I know that Dr. Rush, goofball. She ain't selling nothing, she's just schmoozing, right? So it may be a way in which you do it. The exception may be all of a sudden Boeing found that software glitch and they went into their reports. There was an anonymous report, but people could basically put in their comments because they didn't want to get fired. If I worked for American Airlines, I don't want to say that I had problems with the plane, but they could look for the exception reporting. What plane the exceptions got a higher number of complaints than other planes? They can alert me, right? And it's just like anything else. It can alert me on the good end, it can alert me on the bad end, or it can alert me on what are the problems. I could find out that Blaze, right, he was low on sales, but what was it? It's my product that's bad. He can't sell it. Once people see it, it's a faulty product. How do you expect me to sell? I'm not a loser. I'm a winner, but the problem is, it's the product. Or in Latin America, I'm selling to Venezuela now. I give him Blaze, I give him what I give him? I give him the territory. Why don't you sell to Venezuela? And he goes, thanks, right? I'm selling to Venezuela. Of course nobody's buying it. People can't even get food, let alone gonna buy. So you understand, Evelina? So that exception is not that there's something wrong necessarily with the system. It could be. It could be my alert for fraud. Got it? Perfect. So then you can see here data visualization. These are ways we've seen it all along, and that's it. And the next part is cloud computing. And we've talked about it all. You ever used the cloud? Everybody's hand should be up, right? Anytime, if you're using Facebook, is it in the cloud? Yes. Are you using Twitter? Yes. Are you using email? Yes. It's all then housed in the cloud. What does the cloud mean? Just via a web browser, I can get to that software. And who are the two top vendors now in cloud? Everybody hear my question? Amazon is one, Amazon Web Services, and who's really doing well now, surprisingly? What do we have? We have computers in front of us, so what should we do? Who are the top vendors in the cloud? IBM is one, but who is really
Google?
top
Microsoft?
two vendors in cloud computing?
Oracle. Google.
These are all good cloud computing. Okay, here, one of the things, the nerdiest here, we can think about that they have a number of them, but it turns out, I was reading a Wall Street article today in New York Times, it turns out, of course, Amazon, which calls Amazon Web Services, is the best in terms of the highest in cloud computing, and number two is Microsoft Azure. You didn't think about it, but Microsoft stock, if you look at it, it's done so well, is it's getting all its services in the cloud. So what does that mean? It basically goes to companies and says, instead of being on premises, you remember that on premises is storing your computer, we will host you. Microsoft does it, and what they're doing in web services, let me just show you. AWS stands for what? Amazon Web Services. We'll do this more tomorrow, but look at there. Look at even their solutions. Archiving, backup and restore, blockchain, business applications, right? You remember we talked about backup, we talked about restore. You can do that for a number of divisions that you can see here. You can see that basically you'll do documentation. And if I type in Microsoft Azure, and notice in Google, see here, the AD means what? Those are ads, which I usually skip, but we'll talk about that later. And if I go to map, look what they call it. Your vision, your cloud, turn your ideas into solutions faster using a trusted cloud that is designed for you. So that's what we'll do for next week. We'll talk more about it, but we're envisioning that. Okay? Okay, next. I'm now going to Blackboard, but I'm going to go to the audit area. I'm going to audit KY. I'm going to course documents. And these are all my courses here. Alex is in group 0A. You know Alex here. He's done I wanted to thank him. He's done an excellent job in helping me. He's in the other section as well, but he's helping me try to do some of to get us up and running. So let's start with group 1. I got Gina, Tiffany, and Chintzia.
Can we review the exam before the group proposal?
Pardon?
Can we review the exam?
No. because what I want to do is I want to do the group proposals to give you feedback, and then I want to do the exam and leave, and I'll tell you why, because I want to leave time. Some people will have more issues with the exams, so that way we'll be able to, people can leave if they're happy with their exam grades and so forth, and I can stay with others that want to go through the questions, have difficulty with some, or even challenging some of the questions. That's why I'm doing it this result. I know you're anxious, and I want to approve it. I know you're anxious about your grade, but I want to do it this way, and I can give, I don't want to be, rude and say no, but that's my way to do it. So we can hang tight, and it's important because, let me put it this way, whatever grade you got, you can improve by the project. The exam has been done, but I really want to spend, every week we will be going over the project, and you will be presenting your updates of what you did the previous week. So this is crucial for the next part of the semester. But I guarantee you, I will stay as long as you need to be with you on the exams or about your proposals. I will stay for late into the night with you if you need to. Okay, I will be here for you. Okay, but I do appreciate your comments that you wanted to, you're anxious about your grade. Okay, so, just an aside, the exam will be curved. At the end of the semester, I do curve. Okay, so let's go to, so where are my business proposals? So who's going to be the key spokesman here? And let's figure out what you've done. Okay, Gina, Tiffany, and Chintzia. So let's go. Who's going to do it? Okay, so stand up. And tell me what you've done and what we can do.
So basically, we thought of an app that is related to your gym, so it connects with people nearby that go to your gym, or maybe that don't go to your gym that want to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a workout buddy system to try to motivate people to be more inclined to work out.
Okay.
And the app is free, and every time that you connect with a person and work out with them, based on the hours that you work out, like you check in and check out, you get points, and with those points you can buy meal plans or clothing or
So you're
like
motivating
equipment and then like there are competitors that do that now, like Nike Training Club. However, they're not advertised as much. So if you can like connect with local gyms and put flyers out and like show it, then I feel like
Can everybody put this in their notes? Each of your proposals for next week, you want to write this down for me, Alex? On the board. Each of your proposals for next week have to show me your revenue model. How are you going to sustain this business? Okay, so put that as a note. How are you going to sustain it? So with this one, I'm giving people points, right? First of all, who is this geared to? Is this geared to, are you going to gear it to a certain age group?
I haven't really thought that far. But
Okay, so you want
probably people in college or
Okay,
recently out of
so
college.
let's do this. Who's this basically even narrowed down to who is this geared to? Because a lot of times, how are you gonna basically sustain this? And who's gonna be?
Well, if it's geared towards college students, for example, like in the gym here, like you can put like a sign up saying that this app has been created.
Okay, so who's going to? This is going to be like your business that you're going to create this app. Who are you selling this to? How are you going to even sustain yourself? I'm not even talking about profit right now. How are you going to pay yourself? How are you going to keep on sustaining yourself?
I don't think I understand.
Does anybody want to help me out? Basically, how are you going to get revenue?
There's a membership program that you can pay for.
And is there a free version too?
Yes.
So how are you going to support that free version? You know how Facebook is a profitable company, right? How much you pay for Facebook? 0, right? How much do I pay for Google? 0 on those things. But what are they doing? They're basically selling my data. So the question is how are you going to do that?
I guess sell people's data then.
Okay, so this is what you're gonna have to go back and think, okay? I'm giving you feedback. One is that you can have somebody in your group then write it down. Yes.
We could also get ads, people that
Okay,
pay.
so you have to basically do those. Get ads. Are you gonna promote, basically you're gonna promote other gyms there? This is what you have to think about. Is this gonna be just for, you're gonna sell this to universities? Are you gonna be selling these for gyms to advertise other gyms? Are you gonna be then getting other promotion for other types of gear? This is what needs to be set with us. Yes.
Question, for next week, do we need to like come up with some sort of probable figures as well, or just?
No, but you don't have to come up, I'm not asking you to forecast your sales. All I'm trying to do is, what I want this to be is just not pie in the sky. I want you to take this and you say, hey, I got a really great idea, and you can go either to another employer and say, hey, this is what I know how to do. Here's my app that I created, that will be creating apps here for non-programmers, right, that you can show. Here's my website that I have. Here's my whole idea that it's well thought out. And the first thing any investor, think about it as like an investor here, that I'm going to have this, rather than just an app that's a free app that you can have thousands of those, right, that I can go on and get apps, is how are they going to sustain themselves rather than the first one? Why, how are you going to get people, how are you going to get, you got already ideas how I'm going to get them motivated. Now, how are you're going to be involved in it, at least 3 or groups, and then you're going to need to pay the programmer, right? You're going to need to have some marketing people go out and recruit. How are you going to do that? Who's going to support that for you? Is it the gyms maybe? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Is it advertisers? That's what I'm looking for. It's a good idea. I have no problem with the idea. You can relate to it. You go to a gym, you work out. No, you don't work out. So you're not even going to be your own customer. So that's right. I don't, you know what I'm saying? But that's what, and you have to kind of try to figure out what is it that you can motivate. And if this is really the key, what I want to stress to you for tonight is I want you to love the idea. If you don't love the idea after tonight and really love it, then I don't want it and you don't want it. Do you understand? This has to be something that has, hey, I really want to work on it, that, rather than, oh my God, we got to do something for next week. I want you to be able to say, we did well and beyond because we love it, not because you told us that this is due. You understand? And you're the first one, so it's a little bit hard, you know what I mean? And don't take my feedback here. I'm in everybody's group. I have no problem in giving every group an A. But that A has to be well-deserved and well thought out. That when we have, remember I talked about, we have a guy that wants to come in, he has Pitch Me Live. He wants to come in, and for the best group, he wants to get them on his broadcast to Pitch Me Live and give prizes to the best groups. Wix wants to do that too. For the best websites, they want to give certificates saying that your website, that you're Wix certified. So that's what I want. So for each one, in the beginning, I just threw that out. So not everybody's going to have it, and each week we're going to improve. So think about it, is that agile development, rather than the last week after you turned it in, I said, you know what, you should have talked about revenue. And then you should come back to me and say, well, why didn't you mention it? So I'm setting this up as a way in which to work with that group, and then try to figure out, the other thing I want you to do is once we start doing it, try to figure out who in the group is going to do what in the group. That we don't have a group, one person does and 2 people look on. Have you ever been in those groups, or we never saw that 4th person. We didn't even know they were in the group. They just came for the presentation and read one slide. Okay? All right. So we got that now. So then rethink it on how this is going to be a real model. You did a good job in the first one. Okay, that's group 1. Thank you. Okay. Next, group 2. I got Maddie, Gia, and Allie. Let's go. So who's going to be? This is good in a way here. So who's doing this? So stand up. So is there more in here, or can I go from
No,
this?
that's it.
Okay, this is nice, by the way, folks. The way they did it, in the way that you kind of like see what everybody's doing, and then you can see it. Okay, so what's the idea?
Okay, so ours is gonna be like an app, just like Uber, but to call tutors to like campuses. So like when you're ordering it, you would say like kind of like an estimate on how long you like want them, and they give like an estimate on like the price, I guess, and then they would just come to wherever you are and help you, and then kind of like put like a timestamp on how long it was for the price, I guess.
I like it. I think, why do I like it? You're in school, you can know, either you can be a tutor, or you want a tutor, so that's good, so you can be passionate about it. I like the idea coming to you. Now the idea is, how are we gonna make money on this? How are we gonna sustain this model?
I would say like advertise a lot.
Okay, so if I want a tutor, I need a tutor for BTE, I need a tutor for finance, 301 or something. I pay a certain fee, is that what I'm a student at? And if I want to bring, do I have groups?
That could be an option we could add.
Okay, so what I would add, you can put this in your notes, your group can take notes of what I do. I like the idea, everybody understand why I like the idea? Because you can relate to it. That's why I'm a little bit hesitant. If you don't go to a gym, you don't like to go to a gym, maybe that's not it, but if you can still relate to it, you do that. The other thing I would think about, which would be interesting, is you can maybe have it that one individual, maybe you can, if they were willing, you could even broadcast the tutoring session, reduce the cost. So if I were there and I said, I'm really having problems with this finance course, do you mind if we broadcast it and have other people come in virtually to it? Me as the tutoree, right? I'm willing to broadcast myself, and I'll take it less. And then you could do that. And then you could have another version, just like how we have in class, where they could listen into the class but not ask questions. So you could even have different ones. You could even have like a premium version where you can ask questions. You can have and talk to the tutor afterwards, have like chatting. So after hours, not even physically come to you, but I can have it virtually, something where I can do like video chat, I can do it online, I can have frequently asked questions. And then you could even then say, hey, do you mind me recording? I'll give you a discount for recording those sessions, and then you could do reviews. So remember, you have a tutor coming in, you can't even absorb everything the tutor said, so maybe after 45 minutes, I want to review part of that. You could then review, so reviewing the sessions maybe could be a different premium cost. So what do you think? I like to do. So I don't want you to agree with me. You understand? It's your project. I'm just one other member. You understand? But I'm giving you ideas of how it can be using more technology and having it, and maybe in this case, of tutors maybe can be part of it, can be part of maybe bringing in some things, getting them more involved in bringing the fees and doing it. Okay? Very good. So next week, then add that to your project. Then also add, how are you going to then set up? You've done already with the tutors. Go into more detail. Who's doing what, and what do we need to do? And we can start. Okay. Next. Very good. Okay. Group 2, Group 3. Kayla, Rachel, and Manal. What do we got? Who's doing it? Okay. All right. By the way, I like it this way so we can see kind of briefly. We don't have to open up the entire one. So everybody put it as an item, so that way you can do it like a description so everybody can see quickly what your idea is. Okay, so tell us.
So our business idea is pretty much centered around an application to find the best dining deals around where you are. So it's gonna have like kind of a geolocator to find your location and then find the closest either happy hours or deals or just for your birthday, for example, where you can get free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For like national days, if they
Okay.
have any special.
So what are the competitors? There are a lot of those things now. A lot of apps that do that. So are you
there
gonna be any different?
There are a lot of apps that tell you where to go or
Yeah.
like give you reviews and rates,
Right.
but there aren't a lot that get you special deals based on your preferences and all that. And it's also can be kind of more specialized based on your preferences and what you want, like your favorite type of cuisine, things like that.
Mm-hmm. And my favorite, so this is basically you're thinking like a Yelp or something like that, then, or a Groupon, how are you gonna be different? And how are you gonna make money out of this? How are you gonna sustain yourself?
Advertisements.
Okay. So that and so who is this costing to? So advertisements meaning what? And how are you going to be able to, who are you gonna decide? Those that advertise, do they get rated higher up into your system?
Yes, so those are gonna be our favorites.
Those are gonna be favored. So if for instance, James, you know that site, then their favorites are who pays them the most, are you gonna rely on that as much?
Well, we're
See,
also
you
gonna
understand what the problem is? In that sense is, who's gonna pay me, and and if they say, hey, they give me 200,000, that's the only one, it's good enough.
Right, but there's also gonna be an ethical side to this, like
Okay.
we're not gonna be working with a restaurant that's not doing good and referring them.
Okay, and then you're gonna have user reviews?
Yes, probably.
Probably, okay, so you're gonna need to be able to set that up, put that in there, and also set up distinguishing how you're gonna be different.
Right.
That's the key, because that's the key here. It's hard to compete, in the other class, we had somebody that basically wanted to compete with, like Amazon, and I just nixed that idea, you're not gonna compete against Amazon. So you have to kind of get a niche here, maybe for universities or something.
Okay.
Maybe narrow it down to, around universities and get universities, all the vendors, near university to support. And maybe and then you can get ambassadors to go out there and recruit some of those vendors, around a certain area, kind of like university based. And Maddie, and yours too, you may want to even start with that as university based. About like that university and get somehow with the universities either not involved but getting, and you may even want to get in terms of that, like teaching assistants involved in those universities or professors or any way in which you can get involved in narrowing it. Any other questions and comments? That's what I wanted you to do on that one. Okay? Anything else? No.
No, unless you have a question.
That's why it's hard to compete with a Yelp and a Groupon and others like that. There's so many that will do geolocation, but those are the issues. So I would even do maybe university kind of, and maybe university students have different, you can even hone in about your fellow university, you can kind of recruit them, but what are their eating habits or what they like or something like that. That's how you can be different. Because when people look at it, they say, hey, way you're going to compete, with the big players on tap. Okay, who's my next group? I then got a group 3, group 4. Who's doing group 4 here? Okay. So then tell me. You see why I like this? Everybody can do it kind of quickly. Okay, so what are we doing?
So basically it's another health app. Yeah, it was already presented before, but it's slightly different because here in this health app, we're trying to incorporate the best features of all the health apps that there are on Apple Store, because I've recently noticed that myself, and apparently there was a study that I looked up that more than 60% of people after they download the app, they lose interest in it after a few days. So we're trying to keep people interested by creating an app where everything is all together. Because apps are usually like, oh, this app is reminders, this app is motivation, this app is
So you're going to combine existing apps and putting them together?
Plus, we want to add like a social media part to it, which would be like a feed where people would share their health articles on nutrition, blogs, like what's going on around you, like any marathons, anything
Okay.
sport related.
And again, the same question was my question, revenue, right? So how are we gonna sustain ourselves?
So basically, the app is gonna be free, but a lot of features like premium tracking would be paid, and other features as well. And we are also one second. We're also thinking that I completely lost my train of thought, but
Okay.
I just had it.
Okay, so you have to come up with a convincing, not just that premium service, but really how, because what is gonna be, is it gonna be compelling enough for them to be premium? Because most people, how much you wanna pay for an app is usually,
Yeah, I mean, I think our,
Right.
like, I don't know if we've like hammered this out
Right.
exactly, but we're thinking that there would be a feature where it would help you plan out meals, like the portions
Okay.
and stuff like that, and then maybe that would be like a premium
Okay.
feature if it created like a shopping list for you.
Okay.
Yeah, and also I think because we have the blog part of it, in the blog part people could add advertisements and brands advertising their new healthy products or advertising their gym or
Okay.
pretty much anything health related
Okay.
be advertising in that feed.
all right. So, let me add this, everybody, add this to next week's assignment. So we need revenue, we need so can you put that in? We need revenue, can you do me a favor then again? We need revenue on our model, and also we need tasks, what tasks are people gonna do for the project? And then I want an overall diagram of what your system looks like. So if you're doing an app like that, break it down in a diagram of how it's gonna look, because you say, I'm gonna have my reminders, I'm going to have my gym, I'm gonna have social media page, I'm gonna have a news site. So give me you can even do it in PowerPoint, or you can do it in any other means, I don't have to tell you how to do it, but draw out, even do a slide of what this is gonna look like. And that's the same thing for everyone else that I talked about. Is give me in a picture way that I can look at it and we can say, hey, I get it. All right, perfect, okay. Next is group 5, Leah, Dan, and Tyler. Who's doing it? Group 5 here, Adrian?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I can do it.
okay.
So we wanted to do a voice recognition software that directly translates your voice into wherever you are, and our target customer in mind was people who are using ride sharing apps in different countries, because that's a problem just trying to figure out the area where's the best place to eat. So we thought that we could license that to Uber and Lyft as sort of just a plug-in software that they could use. So yeah.
So give me the scenario. You would do what? You got it's an app, and what are you gonna do with that?
Well, at
Give me an example of what you would do. You're traveling, and you're gonna be traveling abroad, or what? This is a translator, or what is it?
Yeah, it's a translator that you speak into, and it will immediately absorb it, and then
So I'm in China,
yeah,
is that it? And then I'm gonna say, where do I eat Chinese food or something?
then it would repeat that
Okay, there's apps like that already, no?
I mean, I probably
Not with Uber or Lyft or anything.
yeah. That was more just
So what does Lyft have to do with
So
it?
if you're in a new place
Right.
and you're trying to get Uber or something and they don't speak the same language as the maps and
Right.
they're gonna charge you or something, this eliminates that.
But I have apps where I can speak and then it will broadcast,
It
no?
doesn't do it that well.
What?
It's just, I don't know.
And how are you gonna do it better?
We were gonna just partner with them so that if the access
Partner with whom?
Uber and Lyft, so the access to through the app and not having to go on your phone and get on Google Translate and try to type things in and I feel stressed trying to figure it out because it's easier.
And you're gonna develop the translator?
That would work with the ride sharing, help them implement that into the app.
But who's gonna develop the translator? And how would you do that? You have any skills to do that?
I don't know.
No, no, no. The only thing I can think about this, put a note there. There's something called, put this in your notes. Can you do me a favor, Alex, again? There's something, put this in your notes right now. There's something called an API. Anybody know what that is? And if you don't, what are you supposed to, right? What is an API? It's an application what? An application program interface. No way, I'm not going to do it, you're not going to do it, we're not going to be able to, even if I'm in your group, create a translator. A lot of these translators already exist. So what we can do is we can incorporate a platform where we use another API, and this is your research if you want to go with this idea, is find what is available now in translators that have an incorporated API. So what you're doing is you're not going to be programming it from scratch. There's companies already that they've gotten the best, they've worked on it for years and years, getting the best translators, and there's companies like Nuance and other companies that do a lot of those translations. And what your job may be to do is to create the platform of what you want included and almost take bits and parts of what's there now and combine it together.
Yeah, we were thinking.
You know what I mean? That's doable.
Okay,
But don't start with, we're going to create a better
okay.
translator, because we're not. I'm part of the team, and I know we're not going to be able to do that. And people are going to laugh at us. You know what I mean? It's like we're going to look ridiculous. So here I see it. Anybody want to do it? We can take existing APIs, and that's what a lot of people do. You know, they'll take, you know, like Google's voice to text, you know, YouTube's voice to text, where they do it. And then what we can do, like YouTube does, is they get the community to correct it. So once it's like translated, you know, they'll reach out to the community at large and say, is this a good translation? You know, and they'll say, hey, this is just word for word, but it's not in context. You know how sometimes translators will do, they'll take their name is like that, and then they'll say, you know, that it's another type of word. They're trying to interpret what the name is. They don't realize it's a name of a person, not the meaning. You know how we all have names and they have some other meaning to it. And then show me a picture then next week of a diagram of how you would incorporate your number of faces together. And then talk about how we're going to do the revenue model. Make sense?
Yeah.
You understand? And so we want this to be real, that you can come to somebody who's not going to reinvent, you know, something so complicated like that.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then you can kind of say, hey, I want it for Uber and I want it incorporated as their kind of portfolio or their platform or Lyft. Okay? Very good. Next. And if you have more ideas, you know, we can do this. Okay, group, what do I have? Group 6. So Hamza, Hira. So who's doing this?
I'll do it.
Okay. So what are we doing?
So what we're going to do is we're going to create an app addressing the issue that on campus where there are a lot of events going on. For example, teachers, professors are inviting speakers,
Right.
and secondly, student government is hosting a lot of stuff like events and stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to create an app, sort of an information management app that's going to list all the events that are currently going on campus at a single place, so that people are able to choose from. And what we're gonna do more with that is we're gonna create sort of opinion polls and surveys after people attend an event, so that people who are hosting, so there are going to be two parts, people who are hosting the event and people who are attending it. So the hosts can get data as to what was the response for the specific event and stuff. And thirdly, what we're thinking about is introducing sort of live streaming for every event, so that on that very app, if people cannot go and attend it, and they can watch it from for example, like that speaker conference that you invited us all to, that could be there on that app, and that could be listed as one of the things.
And
that
then it could be archived too,
Yeah.
so put that it'll be archived too. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Now, again, revenue
It's
resource, how we gonna
It's
get that?
directed towards university students all across America, and what we're going to do is we're going to have a membership fee that we can directly negotiate with committees on student organizations that allocate funds to different committees all across the university. For example, here at UM we have a student fee allocation committee. We can talk to them directly about membership, and that could be linked to individual students' C numbers in our case, and so that every student can go onto that using their UM ID and password, like we do for Canelink and Blackboard, and every student is connected through that. So they
So
can,
who's gonna pay you?
universities will basically be paying us for that app. Yeah, we're gonna directly negotiate with like Office of Student Activities and the Office of Student Affairs, so that it's streamlined, because a lot of students have this problem. I personally have this problem that
You have so many things, right? No, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So, it's good, the other thing you may wanna do just for next week is think about other avenues in the universities to fund it.
Okay.
Because what the problem is going to a university, going through all that administrative work to get them to convince to cough up money for that.
Okay.
It's gonna be, it's a hard sell, and then if you're gonna make it across all campuses to get every university to participate in, it's gonna be difficult. So you have to think about it, and I'll think about it as well, is creatively how well maybe even advertisers or somewhere in which you can get, or somewhere of the host or something, that we can get different revenue sources other than university, because that's such a long process. Let's say even in this institution or others, to get them in public institutions, to get them to cough up money,
Yeah,
so,
that's because before launching this idea, we talked to a lot of people
right.
about events, and they were like, "Oh, only if we had known about the event."
Yeah,
So
no,
that is-
I think it's a great idea, it's just, what my concern is how are you gonna sustain it, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you may wanna do it as kind of like, we'll do a prototype of a few, and in this case, you can even, I foresee, you can even take some of the events, and you can even use this class as one of the events, when we have a guest speaker,
Live
you can,
streaming, yeah.
you can then even, and we have the links like from the cycle and so forth, you can even put that in, you know, when you do your website and so forth, you can even have a prototype already of putting in actual events.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think, and then you can do that, start off with this one as this university with events, and even start off with a small list and actually have some, and since we have this class being,
Yeah.
those links we can have it. Okay, good, very good. We just have to think about everybody understand, it's just gonna be a hard sell along the way for them, because they say, oh, we already publish it in Cane Links or something, you know, that we can do, okay. You know what, you may be able to do, those like streaming services or something, maybe you can get them to be sponsors or something, and then they can do streaming live or something
Yeah,
like that.
link them to.
Right, something that somebody else, or brand names, you know, that wanna be like sponsoring events,
Yeah.
that you could have them sponsor certain events, like a Wix, you know, if the Wix comes as a guest speaker, get Wix, those guest speakers, get their organizations,
Yeah, like the.
that's just sponsor,
just
you have
like
to
the-
think that.
Yeah.
Okay, so stay with, group, what am I in, group 7, Daniel, Evan, and Ryan, what's up? Who's presenting, let's go.
Alright, so our business idea is essentially to have an app and a website where you could rent like fine jewelry and watches instead of having to purchase the thousands of dollars. So essentially it works with like a membership such as like Stitch Fix or any one of those numerous
So you're just doing watches and what?
like fine jewelry. So if you
Fine jewelry. So
Say, like-
the idea, and then how do you keep track of this, that I get my Rolex? And what do I put as collateral then?
Yeah, obviously you have to put some sort of down payment. Like we have to work out insurance. That'd be the biggest issue. Making sure
You know,
that
can you imagine in Miami how many people would wanna rent their Rolex and then take off in their rented Ferrari and
Yeah.
leave you in the dust.
Exactly, but it's like, how does a rental?
Okay, but I'm just saying that's the thing. And who's your? Is there a competitor in that?
No, there's no one else.
Well, they do that with, like I know they do that with clothes, right? That you can, take top brand,
Yeah.
that you wear one time or something. So you got to figure that out. And so your revenue model is what?
Essentially that it'll pay for itself in the end. You
Fair.
upfront the money for $1,000 watch and someone rents it out.
Yeah.
for-
So how are you going to get? The question is how are you going to get money to even get those? It's like it's on demand. As soon as somebody wants a Rolex, then I go out to Rolex, or what do I do?
Well, no, you probably have to have a stockpile ahead of time, or wait, or at least bargain with companies such as Rolex. I don't think they'd let you rent out their stuff. Though.
But then you're gonna buy out a $10,000. That's my only concern. We gotta think about that more. Is how do I even get started on that? Who's gonna give you all that? You know what I mean? I get 10 Rolexes. Who's gonna? For us as a company, you know what I mean? I don't have all that money. I don't have all that cash to put up for
Very
that.
wealthy angel investors.
There's angel investors. I don't know. So we gotta work out. That's my only thing, that it's so high end, that where am I gonna get the cash, and also who's gonna insure it for me? I would do more investigations on that insurance and how much is that a really good business model?
I mean, it's the same way with like the companies where you find a Ferrari.
Yeah, but,
$25,000.
right, so you gotta find out with them, you know what I mean, of those Ferraris kind of thing, with those jewelry kind of thing. I have already said you have to find out, will somebody insure that for me? Because those Rolex, I just can see so much taken, and it's easy, a Ferrari, the police can find my Ferrari with the license plate, you know what I mean, and the VIN number for my Rolex when I pass it on to my friend. Right, but I'm just saying, but it's harder to find them. That's my contention with this. Okay, next, and then we need it, okay. And then set up kind of like a diagram of how we're gonna do this and what are kind of like the products, and we'll discuss it. Okay, group A. Where's my group A?
Here.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so our business idea is application software company that connects small business with the world of online shopping. So we found out that most of small business are going out of business by day. So they will be forced out of the industry.
And you're talking about small business being bricks and mortar, small business, online small business.
Like in a real life, not online.
So bricks and mortar, meaning a real store is going out because they can't compete with
yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you gonna give them then?
So we'll give them like a platform, give
Okay.
them opportunities.
Okay,
It's like a P2P business.
okay. So how's this different than if I can put a store up on Amazon? I'm a bricks and mortar and I'm putting my store up. How are you gonna be different than that? Amazon allows me to set up a store on their site, or I can sell my merchandise through Amazon. So how's that different?
As we indicate here, our business will be people-based and rely on personable employees that are able to build strong relationships with the reps from big tech companies and small business owners that wish to expand their sales to online
And then you're charging a fee, or you're charging them interest on how much they sell, or what?
Yeah, based on the price they sold, yes.
So if I sell an item, I'm selling computers,
Yeah, like,
so I'm gonna give you a certain percentage of what I sell?
Yes.
Okay. And you're gonna create then the website for them? What are you gonna create? People are gonna go to them, or you're gonna create an online presence for them?
Like a website.
Okay. My problem is you have to search is how are you gonna compete then? Those mom and pop, maybe you can go, and how are you gonna recruit them? How do they, if they're a mom and pop, how are you gonna get them recruited? So two things I want, write it down, that I want you to be able to do, is how are you gonna do it better than Amazon? What's your niche there? Because you can't compete head-on with Amazon. Amazon has that already, you know what I'm saying? Alibaba has that already. So is yours thing that I'm just gonna do a certain industry of a mom and pop, I'm just gonna go to those, I'm gonna start off with a certain city, am I gonna start off, so who's in your group? You two, and where's Max? Huh? He didn't show up. Okay, not good. Okay, so that's the question here. Are we gonna start it in China? Are we gonna start it here? Are we gonna go to certain businesses? That's what I have problems with it. Everybody understand that? They wanna basically be online mom and pop. Amazon gives you to be online. How are they gonna be unique there? That's gonna be really hard. Unless they do so nichey that I'm gonna do like little restaurants, or I'm gonna be doing,
A very specialized.
you know what I mean? You almost have to start off as really specialized to be able to do that. Okay, course documents, how am I doing here? Okay, so what other group? So that's the issue with them. Okay, so 8, 9. Again, John and Tyler, who's doing it? Okay, what's up? I like this. Folks, try to keep, I like the way that people did this in terms of the business proposal of being able, that we can see it quickly. I don't have to open up the file. So what's the idea?
So basically our idea is a app where students can like share and exchange study guides and other like study documents. And so the way it would work is for every document you upload, you get one free access to another document. So for revenue, you would have to pay for any additional unlocks you want if you don't have, like if you're not uploading your own documents. And that way, it makes sure that people are always uploading new content, so there's stuff on the app. And
So how is it different than the competitor?
well, it's the competitor.
Yeah, so what I was thinking is we could use this as like a,
You want to stand up so we can hear you?
so it's like in the school kind of thing, so it's like a collaborative within the school in Miami. So, someone takes this class and they have a study guide, they could upload it to the same.
Okay. And in Course Hero, it's not, or in the other ones, it's not university specific, is that what you want to say?
Well, Coursera, you have to pay for. There's no like free option
Okay, and if there's a free option, then so how are you gonna be revenue based?
with ads
And what kind of ads? Who's gonna wanna advertise? So that's what you have to come back with for next week. When we just say, it's easy to say ads, isn't it?
Yeah.
But who's gonna wanna put it? Ads cost, right, if I'm an advertiser, just to put it in a site that nobody's there, we have to do it. So it may be an idea that for the ads, maybe you can remunerate your end users by bringing in advertisers.
Oh yeah.
You know, make it local maybe in some ways too, of university based, starting here at an institution and then going and blossoming out and getting ambassadors out there for their ways. And go through that part, okay? That's it. Okay, next, course documents. Who else am I getting? So did I get it? So, is there a group 10? Who's group 11? Chris, Ryan, and Brandon?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, do me a favor then, afterwards, renumber the groups, so we got, make yourself 10, you know, and 11, and then we can change the grouping, but it doesn't matter right now. So what are we doing? I'm gonna go to business proposal, what do we got? Don't do it, don't worry about the numbering right now, so what is it?
So pretty much what we have is a drone business service. So we provide services and products to anybody who needs a service. So it's like we're trying to solve most problems that result from not being able to see or capture something like, realtors use drone photos on their
Right.
website to get a competitive
So you're gonna be like a company that does a service for,
services, and then we're also gonna sell products, like for, to sell to fire departments on the drones, we're gonna create an infrared lens. That
have you had
helps-
any experience with drones?
Yeah, it's actually a business.
You have a
spin-off.
business already?
Yeah, sort of.
Cause I met some people that do that here in,
Yeah.
South Florida, that
Well, I
they,
did it back home in high school.
okay, because I've seen those where they gave me their card and they do these drone businesses and they say, no, I'll do for so many, you know, I'll take for real estate, it's kind of like the thing.
Yeah.
So how are you any different from that? Are you gonna be just like a local, how are you gonna get it in different cities, or you just want it locally, or what?
We're gonna start locally and then go into like bigger cities, would be our plan. And, we kinda, I mean, the services, yeah, there's competition out there, but it's not well known. So what we try and do is for, real estate, we probably start residential and then move into commercial. And the way to do that is to not work through a specific agent, but more, like an office. So for example, Keller Williams or something, you go to an office and say like, I'll make a deal with this specific office, and all the agents inside that office strike a deal, because then it's just bigger, and you're not going individually. And then from there, you just, yeah, that's kind of like where you start, and then it's just kind of like word of
So
mouth.
so the revenue here is just from the individuals that are paying you to do the service, is that it? And then you're gonna sell,
Yeah, and then we're also gonna sell, like a few products,
and you're gonna sell what?
a few products.
And a drone kind of products, or what?
Yeah, drone products. So like the infrared lens on the drone, which firefighters use live. Like they fly drones during a fire, kind of like locate the sources of heat, where it's coming from, so it can like direct where it's
Okay,
striking.
so let's do this. Especially since you've done it, you know, before, I set up like a diagram, like a PowerPoint of not only what are possibly, think about other revenue resources that you can get rather than those individuals, and then how are you gonna get how are you gonna expand? Like if I go to another city, let's say I start with Miami, and then I wanna go to Fort Lauderdale, and then I wanna go to Orlando, let's even in Florida. How are you gonna get you gonna like outsource, are you gonna get like contractors, or have like, you know, a way that you even, you know, a home advisor, you know, where they'll list the number of people that can do it? Are you gonna be a system where you'll say, hey, I'm in California, these are our vetted drone specialists?
Yeah, so we
Like
have to
a
hire
registry.
people to work for us, and like that can be a little tricky, especially
I know.
because if you wanna do it for this, you need your part 107.
Right, and then also that you're gonna rely, and then they're gonna say, why am I gonna do it with you versus just take that customer and get it,
Yeah,
do it on
well-
my own?
Yeah, yeah, well, I guess we could incorporate incentives.
And then maybe make it, think about it, it's almost like a home advisor kind of thing, but smaller, you know, where you're gonna be having people that are doing drones can be on your site, something like that.
Yeah,
And then give me a diagram,
okay,
okay?
alright.
Okay, but it seems like it's doable in the first way that we can do it, and then you can, of course, you can, since you have it already, you can, you know, put in services, make it in more detail. And what else I want you to do for your group then is what each person, give me a task of what everybody's gonna do in the group, okay?
Got it.
All right, so that it was group what? 11, so my group 12. Cindy, Blaze, and Sabrina, what's up? Who's doing it? Okay, what's up?
So we want to do a business where you can rent umbrellas on campus. We're gonna start at the University of Miami and then hopefully expand.
And how did you come up with that?
Weather is very unpredictable in Miami. So,
It's interesting, because last semester I had the exact same students do that,
Oh really?
yes.
Um,
And the question is the revenue model, okay, I'm stuck here, I see it all the time, right? If we get, especially in near, right, rain comes, and I have to pay for this
well,
umbrella,
we were thinking to do a monthly fee. If you want to pay for a month, then you can choose if you want to continue each month or just do a month because there are rainy seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then to rent the umbrella, it would be a smaller fee, like 50 cents.
Mm-hmm. For 50 cents. Okay, let me just flip it, because it was interesting, last semester they, maybe we'll even look at it. They did the exact same thing, and I wasn't so excited about that idea either, last semester and this semester, okay. My problem is growing that in terms of revenue. The cost of those umbrellas and then making sure that they get turned in right, and I have to track that umbrella. So another idea maybe with even those umbrellas is to get vendors, to put on like City Group or something on the umbrellas. Like how City has a lot of their bike stands with City around the world. Have something like that you can get like some types of vendors there. Because I'm thinking that it's and then it'll just be in places where, and then after you get then what? Is it going to be a business, you're going to go to other campuses, or it's just a thing?
Oh, other campuses, or if it really works, maybe even in different cities.
Yeah, they do that, but and what's the difference of getting that? Like hotel, if you go to fancy hotels, they'll give you an umbrella, you know what I mean, when it goes out. Think about it, it's just, and you felt it. I just feel in terms of revenue, how much can you get? That's all.
Thank you.
So come back to me on that one. And also the revenue one. Hopefully I'll finish up with you guys. Okay, that's my, and whose idea was that? The umbrella thing.
Oh, that was mine. I literally just thought about it. I didn't even know someone did that one.
Yeah, they did it last semester, but I'm just saying, it's hard to keep track. How are you gonna, physically, how are you gonna keep track of that?
Well, each of the umbrellas would have like a sensor on it.
And I have to pay for those sensors, right? So it's gonna add more cost to it. Do you understand? And how much am I really gonna do it versus just waiting? I think it's a convenience, or maybe almost as a convenience. Here I have, it's almost like those scooters. Huh? I just think it's not so, wow. You see it? Is it? You guys can do, I just think you guys can do better of something where, it's almost like a tutoring thing or something, but just handing out an umbrella that I have to pay so much for technology to keep track of it, and how much is the umbrella gonna be? It's gonna be really great. A lot of times when I wanna go from here to the other building, do I really need a fancy umbrella, or, those $1.99 kind of, almost a throwaway umbrella, or give ponchos out with a area. That's my key. And then for all that work, and what's the cost gonna be, and how much are people gonna pay for that, and how many times it's gonna rain, or I'll just get wet. It's a nice thing, but it's not as compelling. That's my thing. But let's think about it. But you can change. Okay. What's next? Whose group? 13. Is that the last one?
No. 14.
Oh, 14. Oh, 13. Okay. Let's go. Who's doing it? No, this is just reg tech.
Go down,
Proposal.
go
What?
down, go down. All the way at the bottom.
Okay. All right. Who's doing it? Okay.
Alright, so our company is like a tracking company. So it's kinda like Find My iPhone, but we're gonna develop like tags so you can put it on more than just Bluetooth or like software devices, like your clothes or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that only Bluetooth?
That's like it's on your keys or anything.
Yeah.
It's like
So-
a physical file.
Alright.
Yeah, you can put it on right tracking. That was my question. So you're sitting down because it already exists? Is that what you're saying? It's a good idea, but it exists. Also, it's, you know what, okay, So we'll go back. Okay, let me go back. All right, am I missing? Why is this not going? 14, group 14? Group 14, does group 14 have their names on it, or is it, okay, who's group 14? Okay, okay, let's go.
Okay.
Last one.
So our app is basically to provide like basic information on politics, both on like local and national level, because a lot of the times it's pretty aggressive and extensive in terms of like political information, and so it would target mostly like high school students and like young voters, basically, and it would use location based so that it would come up with like local issues and your thoughts on them. Would be first you would be able to see like who stands with who, and then once you like do like short quizzes, it will tell you like where you belong or something.
And what is the motivation of this? Why'd you come up with this? Whose idea? This was your idea?
Yeah, it was a mix of me and Ming, but mostly in high school. I had like my political like knowledge wasn't the best, and like some of my friends mostly manipulated me in terms of where I where I want like who I support and things.
Okay.
And so.
And what's the revenue model of this?
It would be mostly be subscription based.
And so the high school students are going to subscribe to this and pay money for it?
They can. But that would be the basic level would be free, but then the subscription based would be like summarize like bills or like laws.
And who's going to write this?
Me, I guess.
We need to talk about this.
Okay.
Because one is going to be hard for. How are you going to keep up with this? Right? It's really difficult. Number two is who's going to pay for it. High school students aren't going to pay for it. And what's your revenue source? So you keep on having to update this, you know, and you're going to start with a certain city. Let's say Miami.
Yeah.
Who's going to do the research, and who's going to keep that up? That's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And who's going to make it objective, right? And who's, opinion, right, that you're going to do it. That I just think it's going to put a lot of burden on you. And let's say you don't want to do it next week. You're busy with your tests.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Yeah. So that's what I go back with.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you understand my thing?
Yeah,
I want you to take it, and it's just all you want to be able to get user content.
Yeah.
If you think about anybody that's successful, like a Reddit or something, they're getting users to put in content. You think about Twitter, they're getting users to put in content, right? And if it's all on you, a lot of these sites are being folded. They're being cut. All these, basically media companies. So that's what I don't. And the target group, the high school students, most of them aren't even interested.
Yeah.
And the few that are, maybe they'd be interested and they can go to a lot of other sites to find it. They can go to local newspapers or something to find out. So go back to the drawing board. Okay, everybody understand? So what's due next week? Next week is the chapter 3, Tech Guide 3. The other part is your proposals need to be just put put the date of the second draft. You don't have to change this. You'll just add an additional one of week, whatever it is. This is what we've added, or this is what we changed. And then next week, I'll only focus on changes. I'm not going to go through, this takes a long time. I'm just going to go to what have I changed, and then I want, from everyone, I want a diagram that I can see in one slide. What is the whole overview of what you're presenting? So we need to do the revenue model, and also the task everyone in the group is going to have. And again, I can't emphasize more. I want you to take this in, that you can think about it is viable. Not all the stress on you. Yes.
How long do we have to present it?
In the final, you mean? The final presentation? We'll be dividing, it'll be probably about 8 minutes or so, doing the overview. And some of the things you'll be presenting, we already have known about as we go through it. You'll be presenting, you know, a short presentation, and then I'll even invite outsiders to review it, and we'll be broadcast. And then you decide whether you want to be broadcast or not. Everybody understand?
Yes.
So you decide. Since it's you know, I have the freedom to say I want to broadcast myself on it. But if you want to broadcast, you know, you make that decision. I think you should, but it's up to you. Okay? All right, let's take a real short break. Let's take a 3 minutes. No, you want to do it? Okay, let's go. All right. I should give an exam every week. The excitement. Okay, so I need help here. Let me see. Okay, so you can call out the names here. These are the tests. I'm giving 2 parts. I'm giving you the test. Everything comes back to me. If you take these, you get a 0. 0, 0. So you can take, these do not have graded. These will be your open-ended, and you'll have what you did, and then I'll hand out to you your test scores that you'll do that too. Okay? So let me just see.
Are they like in order?
No, but anyways, you can shut that
The broadcast or
Okay, when I call your name, you can get that.